What's going on, guys? It's Luke here. We're going to run through a quick weekly outlook for the week coming up from October 13th to the 17th, 2025. Obviously, we had a crazy end to the week with this huge bearish candle on Friday after the Trump tweet about the tariff stuff with China. And we ended up coming down and filling in this weekly fair value gap. I did not expect that to happen, that drastically. I did figure we were going to come down and rebalance it eventually, but I didn't think we were going to nuke, from edging all-time highs all the way down to that weekly fair value gap so fast. So we're going to run through basically the areas I have marked down on my charts, and then I'm going to get through the news and how I'm going to be approaching the week. But the only thing is, stuff might be changing due to the situations with the government and stuff like that and the tentative news. So if there's any updates on the specifics of the news, I will go over them on my TikTok. So I'll put my TikTok in the pinned comment if you guys want to follow me on there, and I'll go over the news more in depth and how I'm approaching the market every single day as news changes. But let's get right into this. Also, in the pinned comment, link for the Discord, free Discord, and 25% off Alpha Futures. I think it'll be on till the 15th. So if you guys want to sign up link, it'll be in the pinned comment. So let's get right into this. So starting off on the monthly, obviously we're about, what's today, the 11th. We are about a week and a half into October. We just have a bearish flip on the candle due to that news. But obviously our monthly is obviously still in bullish order flow. We go down to the weekly, and we had a strong weekly bearish close, and we ended up actually closing below this weekly low right here. So technically we have a break to the downside on the weekly, but we did fall into this weekly bullish fair value gap. So this is going to be key for us. We really need to pay attention to how price is going to react off of this weekly bullish fair value gap, right? If we can get a bounce off this level, we're going to see recovery. But if we end up flipping this weekly in and we inverse it, then we're most likely going to continue to flood down and rebalance price on the higher time frame. So this is going to be a key area to have marked on your charts. So let's go over the areas I have marked out for now. So right now I have marked out, obviously, our all-time high. Let me put this in full screen really quick. So we have marked out our all-time high, which is the previous week's high. We have marked out the previous week's low, which is this past week's low, and we have this weekly bullish fair value gap, which price again wicked into, and we had a nice recovery at the end of the session on Friday, but we'll have to see how this holds. And then in terms of another weekly draw, we have this weekly low down here from the first week of September. So keep this area marked out as well, just in case we end up flushing down there. That's all I have marked for now. So let's go back now to the daily. Daily, obviously, huge nuke, kind of throws off the overall trend of this market. We end up breaking to the downside here. And it's just, when you see candles like this, it's just a little bit hard to kind of form a bias, because we need to really get some guidance, which I'm going to get into my plan for the rest of the week. So again, we have marked out our all-time high, which is our previous week's high. We have our previous week's low in this weekly fair value gap. Then we have this daily low right here. I just forgot to write it, but this is a daily low right here around 24,026. We have this daily low right here at 24,746, and then we have this weekly low down here. And then ES is pretty much the same scenario. I'll show you guys what I have marked out on ES really quick, even though it's pretty much in the exact same scenario again. Only thing is, on the weekly, I think we slightly inversed this weekly bullish fair value gap. We just closed below it, so this could be something to keep an eye on. But overall, same thing. We barely inversed it. Again, we have marked out our all-time high, which is our previous week's high, previous week's low. I'm still keeping this on the chart, this weekly fair value gap right here. We have this daily low, and then we have this weekly low, and we actually put in somewhat of a short-term SMT. ES swept this low, NQ didn't, so that is something also to keep an eye on going forward. So let's focus on NQ again, because they're pretty much in the same scenario. We just have that slight bullish SMT right now, and we're delivering out of this weekly bullish fair value gap. So obviously, we have been in an insane push in the market for a long time now, for months straight, and I've eventually assumed we're due for some type of correction, and we're going to need some guidance. So what I'm hoping will happen is that we end up forming a daily fair value gap somewhere in and around here, and then we can use that for guidance. And what do I mean by guidance? For example, say early in the week we form a new daily fair value gap right here. We can use that for guidance. So if price comes up into it and rejects, we can see the continuation lower. But if we continue up and we inverse it, then we can look for price to continue into price discovery and continue to make new highs and new lows. So I want to wait personally for a new fair value gap on the daily to form, to really be able to have some guidance in where I think this market's going to go. But obviously we had a nice flush to the downside, taking out all this low resistance sell side liquidity. We have a small bullish SMT right now, but it's really going to depend what happens going into next week with all this news. So I don't really want to make any strict predictions right now, but these are the areas that I have marked on my charts. So again, this weekly fair value gap is going to tell us a lot. If we come down this week and we flip this gap and we inverse it and we get a retest, we're going to be probably looking to have a higher time frame sell off, which could potentially lead down into taking out some higher time frame draws. And then eventually we could see that sell off into that monthly fair value gap all the way down here if we do inverse on the daily. But that's going to be, we're going to have to wait and see if we can get that. We're not going to try to make that prediction right now, right? Other than that, if we get a new daily fair value gap right here, we can use that again, like I said, for guidance, and we can use it to kind of see the direction of the market. So if we continue to come up and we reject, then we're going to likely want to see price continue to flush down lower. If we inverse it, then we're going to probably want to see price go higher. So let me just mark that out right there. Right, that's what we're going to be looking for. We're going to be looking for a daily fair value gap for guidance on the rest of the week and how price action should flow from that. So we're really going to need to keep an eye on this weekly fair value gap. If we inverse this gap, we're going to be looking to take out some higher time frame sell side draws all the way down potentially into that monthly fair value gap, which I showed you guys before. And if we continue to push up and we continue to inverse on the daily, we get a higher time frame inverse, then we're going to be looking for price to go back into price discovery. But it's going to really depend on what happens with the upcoming news, and we're just going to see how that market flows from all the red folders that we have and this government shutdown and all that stuff like that. So again, if we show bullish order flow on the 4 hour, the daily, the lower time frame, we're going to be looking for continuations back up to all-time high since we are delivering out of this weekly fair value gap. But if we get guidance, we come out into a daily fair value gap, 4 hour fair value gap, whatever. Like right now we have this 4 hour gap right here, as you can see right here. I prefer the daily for this, but same thing, whatever. We come into this, we reject. We're going to be looking for price to likely flood lower. If we can come back up and inverse this, we're going to be looking for price to go higher. Sell side targets are the ones we have marked out, which is the previous week's low and those daily lows. And then buy side, we pretty much just have all-time high and our previous week's high. So same scenario with ES. We're going to look at the news really quick. These are the areas I'd have marked down on the charts, and just keep an eye on these areas. These are going to be the ones most relevant to us on the higher time frame this week coming up. So going into the news, we're going to have to again just see what changes throughout the week. I'll update you guys on my TikTok with how the news changes every single day. Monday we have a US bank holiday and we have Thanksgiving in Canada, so I won't be trading, I won't be on the charts at all on Monday, obviously. Tuesday we have Powell speaking at 12:20, so basically I will be trading the morning, but I will be de-risking just in anticipation of the volume slowing down until that speech. So I will be trading, just kind of being careful and de-risking, but I will be on the charts on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have some orange folders scheduled for 8:30, so Wednesday will be a normal trading day for me. Thursday, we have all of this tentative news, which means we don't know when it's going to be released, so we're going to have to take that one slow and just take it minute by minute, get up Thursday morning and see what's going on or see what updates we get. But we have all of the, it's not something ideal, so we're going to have to wait and see and kind of plan for that accordingly. And then Friday, we have no news scheduled, so this will be a normal trading day for me. So again, we're just going to have to play it day by day this week again with this whole situation. We really can't predict, we can't really come up with a strict plan like we would in other weeks. But again, I'm really going to be watching a daily fair value gap formation here. For now, we can watch this 4-hour gap and see what happens. And this will be a good point of guidance for us. If we reject it, we're going to probably want to seek lower. And if we flip it, we're going to probably move back up. I'm favoring lower prices overall. I do feel like we need that higher time frame rebalance. But you never know what happens with the market. You never know what happens with news, so it's hard to make a prediction. But keeping these areas marked out on our charts, and we'll go from there. So that's going to wrap it up for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, if you guys want to join the Discord, links in the pinned comment. My TikTok's in the pinned comment as well. If you guys want to keep updated with how I'm approaching every single day, Alpha Future sign up link in there as well. That's it for me, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.